War-torn nations qualifying for the World Cup? Few have done it, but one nation came painfully close: Syria. In the heart of the Syrian civil war, playing away from home, they almost did the unthinkable. They started in the second round of the Asian qualifiers, needing to be top of their group or one of the best 4 second-place teams to make it to the third round. With Japan in their group, first place was impossible. And indeed, they lost to them twice. But every other game, Syria won them all. 26 goals scored and 3 conceded. Enough to make it to the third round. But then problems. Their coach, sacked. Their home games moved from Oman to Malaysia, and in their group, Iran and South Korea. And only the top 2 qualify automatically, with third place needing to go through 2 more playoff ties. And when Syria lost their opener to Uzbekistan, people thought this isn't happening. But then, held South Korea 0-0, beat China 1-0, and drew with Iran 0-0. But when the hope to cut the gap with Uzbekistan seemed doomed, in the return match, Omar Kharibin scores a stoppage time penalty and Syria beat Uzbekistan. Hope! A loss to South Korea followed before a last gasp equalizer against China. With 2 games to go and qualification still a possibility, Syria get the best news possible. Their best player by a mile, tearing it up in the Saudi League, Omar Al-Souma, would return to the national team for the first time in years. He doesn't score in his first game back, but Syria defeat Qatar 3-1. But their final game was against table toppers Iran. Meanwhile, South Korea play Uzbekistan. Now the table looks like this: South Korea in second place on 14 points, and Uzbekistan and Syria both on 12 points, but Syria in third place because of goal difference. Now if Syria win and South Korea Uzbekistan drew, they would get a direct spot at the World Cup. Now Syria took the lead against Iran, but an Azmoun brace put them 2-1 up. And the thing is, South Korea and Uzbekistan drew 0-0. So as it stood, Syria were out, but they needed 2 goals to qualify directly and 1 goal to make it to the playoff spot. And in the 93rd minute, it was none other than Omar Al-Souma to make his return goal to the national team with a last gasp equalizer to give Syria one more chance at qualifying for the World Cup, a playoff match against Australia. The first leg ends 1-1 with Al-Souma scoring a penalty. The second leg also ends 1-1 with Al-Souma also scoring. Extra time. And in the 109th minute, Tim Cahill scores. But Syria have one last chance, a free kick in the 120th minute. Omar Al-Souma steps up and he strikes, but he hits the post. Syria's World Cup dream was over in that very moment. They did their best, but it was not to be. Australia would beat Honduras to qualify, and Syria would return home. Or not really home, because at the time, Syria had no home.